Yo, what's good, everybody? Just jumping in to do something a little bit different today. Typically, obviously, I'm playing Smash Bros. I'm playing retro games and stuff like that, but today there was a special announcement through Nintendo Direct where Mr. I think it's Eiji Aonuma, Mr. Aonuma had a gameplay demonstration for The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which is the sequel to Breath of the Wild coming out to on Nintendo Switch. So that was earlier today. I did get a chance to play it in the background. I didn't get a chance to fully absorb all the content that was in front of me. So this is an opportunity for me to be able to pretty much take a look at it one more time, give a little bit of an analysis in regard to what I've seen in the game so far. Breath of the Wild came out 6 years ago as a launch title for the Nintendo Switch. It was also on the Wii U, probably the last, swan song, if you want to call it, of the Wii U before it was retired. So very excited to see what this game has to have in store. I was able to put in, I think, over 400 hours into that game. Definitely sunk in a lot of time on the TTC on transit, as going to work. A lot earlier than when the glitches and everything else started to sort of come out. So very excited for this game. Pre-ordered it last year, so without further ado, let's switch it up and get into it.
Hello everyone, I'm Eiji Aonuma, producer of the Legend of Zelda series. First, I have some news. Development on The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is now complete. Thank you very much for waiting. Many of you are looking forward to this game, and we've released a few
Those white
trailers so far.
Joy-Cons from the OLED look so clean
Although
there on the
it'll
side
just
there
be a
too.
brief glimpse, I'm going to actually play the game for you all today and show you what it's like.
It's got some swag too. Look at those
Okay.
glasses, that blazer.
Let's
go.
begin. Here we are in the land of Hyrule.
Right away, you can see something's
Like The
going on
Legend
with
of Zelda:
his
Breath of the
arm.
Wild, there's a
You see that
vast
kind
world
of
to explore.
something kind of spilling over his
Of
chest
course,
over there.
it's not
leg.
just the same world as is. It's changed in many ways. If we talk about all of the changes today, we'll run out of time, so we hope you'll seek them out for yourself when the game launches.
Visually seems to be pretty much
In
on
this
par
game,
with
the
Breath of
vast
the Wild.
world of Hyrule reaches high into the sky. You'll notice some land masses floating up there. We call them Sky Islands. You're probably wondering something. How do you get to the Sky Islands when they're so high up? If we take a look, oh, something's falling from the sky.
It's like a meteor kind of
Do you
thing
see
there.
it? I wonder what that is. Let's head over to it. We're almost at the spot where the object fell.
So far, the HUD is pretty
Here
much
it is.
identical to Breath of the Wild. Now.
Okay, let's use one of Link's new abilities. If you do this on the rock that just fell,
Rewind.
look,
Typically,
it
this would
started
be done with
rising.
like a Sheikah slate or something like that. So
This
I'm
power
curious
is
to
known
know
as recall, which
how
rewinds
the
an object's
power is
movement.
activated. Potentially,
Since
again,
I
maybe the
just
Sheikah
used
slate is
recall
fused
on the
into his arm
fallen
now.
rock, I can now rise into the sky. We're a lot closer to the Sky Islands. Let's use the paraglider to reach one of them. There are a few other Sky Islands floating here too. I made it. There are lots of ways to reach the Sky Islands, so we
Some
hope you'll
dragon
try a
scales
few
there.
different methods. Okay, now we're on a slightly bigger Sky Island. Just like on the surface, there are several man-made structures. Some trees are also growing here. You won't see many of those yellow trees on the surface, though. Let's walk around for a bit. There's a branch on the ground. When you find something like this, you should pick it up. It might come in handy later. Let's continue. Oh, something's there. This is a brand new enemy called a construct. We'll fight it using the branch we just picked up. Ah, the branch broke. Not
Nice
good,
one, bro.
not good. Quick, get another branch and... we defeated it.
What does it drop there, though?
Moving on.
Zonai Charge and the Soldier Construct.
We've now explored
horn.
more of this Sky Island. As expected, fighting with just a branch won't get us very far. Also, this branch is almost broken. So here's another one of Link's new abilities. If we use this branch and the rock over here, and do this, look, we can stick them together.
+2
We
attack.
created a makeshift hammer. This is called fuse. You can stick objects together to create new weapons with
Now,
various
this
effects.
is really interesting because there's so
Let's
many
take on
things
another
to pick up in this
construct with
world,
this
so
fused weapon.
the combinations
We're
really
dealing
change
with
this
two
game
of them at once.
compared to Breath of the Wild.
Oh, we beat one.
All right, one attack combo.
The weapon's
took him
attack
out.
is definitely improved. The other branch broke,
hit
but
combo.
this weapon has much better durability. You can do all sorts of things by experimenting with the fuse ability. You can fuse two weapons, for example.
Same drops from the last.
If we take this
soldier.
long stick and fuse it with a pitchfork, we can create a weapon with
+4
a much
attack.
longer attack range.
Double attack range.
With this, we don't have to get too close to enemies, and we can safely attack from a distance. You can also fuse arrows with materials in your inventory. For instance, try fusing this leaf to an arrow. Fuse an ice elemental material to an arrow and you can freeze faraway enemies.
Ice arrows. Man-made. Or
Very useful.
Link-made.
In addition, let's see. Ah, there's a bird flying around. If you're out hunting, you might feel that aiming with an arrow is too difficult. Apparently, my eyes can't track fast-moving objects as of late, so my shots rarely land.
Leave the shot, bro.
So, at times like these,
Imagine he got it on
here's
the
an
wall.
eyeball you can get by defeating monsters. Fuse it to an arrow and... Look,
That's
it
pretty
homed
cool,
in on the
Because I
target.
never really used those keys eyeballs.
Let's
except
try this
for,
on another
recipes and
bird.
stuff like that. So the fact that they're making
I'll just
use
fire in that
and
general
giving
direction.
attributes to kind of combine
It's very simple.
seemingly useless stuff
Depending
from
on what you
the
stick
previous
together,
game is
the
pretty cool.
fuse
'Cause
ability could also be
otherwise, I
beneficial
was
for
just
hunting.
farming that stuff and just had so much for no reason that just went to no good use.
I fused
so.
a mushroom to my shield. Now, you're probably wondering if this has any use. Well, this mushroom is actually a puff shroom. Let's fight an enemy with this.
Like The Last of Us.
I
Is he
blocked with the
infected?
shield. Okay, there's smoke now. The enemy's lost sight of Link, so... Attack!
Sneak strike. Nice. One hit KO from
Even if
behind.
you struggle with combat, you can take down enemies using similar
Same
methods.
stuff. The
In the previous
Zonai
game,
charge,
you'd usually
the
get
soldier
powerful
horn.
weapons by defeating strong enemies.
So I wonder what
But
those
in
can,
this game,
create there.
fusing even the weakest weapon with something else could turn it into a useful weapon.
Club?
There are even more gameplay options for sticking things together. Let me demonstrate.
+1 attack on the rock.
Some
as
of the
well.
Sky Islands even have rivers. We'll want to cross this one, but swimming across it, well, the river's too wide for that. We need a boat.
Not enough stamina.
Of course, there isn't anything that resembles a boat around here.
So I noticed this right away. 3
we'll
logs.
lift up this
so
log
definitely gonna be a
and
raft.
attach it to a second log. Let's do one more. We'll bring this over here and attach a third log. It's a makeshift raft. This is another new
I wonder if
ability
it fuses
called
together just
Ultra
by
Hand.
letting it go.
Even though the
or if
logs
you
are
need to
currently attached,
do anything
they
specific,
can be
or if you just put them
detached.
side by side. if
Let's
they can
modify the
detach.
shape of the raft. You can always attach things or detach them like this.
Okay, so you just pretty much A to detach, A to attach.
Now, if we put this on the water,
This is
it's
kinda
made
like
of
the
wood,
magnesis,
so the
I think,
buoyancy will keep it afloat.
effect, but just Ultra Hand can.
We've
make
made
you
a simplified
lift anything
version
instead
of a
just the
boat.
metal.
However, it won't move in its current state, so we'll need something to propel it forward. There's something here.
Motor?
Let's try hitting it. Oh,
Some
wind.
battery life to it.
It's blowing wind. Looks like we found a fan. Why don't we try attaching it?
That's cool. Once you strike it again, it starts to refill the battery. So not unlimited, which is
We'll attach
good.
another one.
Makes it things too easy.
This
You have
should
to be
make the boat
conservative
well
with your
balanced.
energy usage.
Okay, they're attached.
Nice.
All
Now
right,
you
let's
have the
try
little
moving the boat.
hovercraft.
Hey, it's moving. It's sailing pretty fast with the wind from the fans. Since we added 2 fans, we should be able to cross the river in no time.
I thought would need to have to do a spin
Alright,
attack.
we reached the other
hit
side.
both, but it looks like when you hit one, it activates both fans at the same time.
In the most recent trailer, we showed scenes of Link riding a large car and a flying machine. Those vehicles actually aren't in the game from the start. Instead, you'll be able to freely craft them on your own.
Yeah, this is
There
pretty
are
dope.
all sorts of objects
Between all
you'll
the
come across
combinations
in
of
this
the
game.
weapons
And depending
now,
on how you
crafting
use your
vehicles and stuff
imagination,
like that,
you can do a lot with them.
definitely
So,
gonna be
try
some crazy
crafting
builds
different
out there.
things and explore this world at your leisure. There are even more new abilities.
But I wonder again
Take
if
this
you
building
can
over
add,
here.
more
Okay,
power
watch
to
this.
the fan so it doesn't deplete too quickly.
Look, I passed
passing
right through
through.
the ceiling. This new ability is called Ascend. If you're in a place with a ceiling, you can go through
Definitely beats the hell out of climbing
to the
slowly.
floor above you. There are some restrictions, but what's great about this ability
It's
is
in
that
use
as
of
long as
the
there's a
stamina
ceiling,
gauge, though.
you can use it anywhere. For example, this place has a cave with a hill right above it. If we use the ability here,
It's a pretty
Come
clever use
on,
of the swimming
keep going.
animation.
okay, we emerged at the top of the hill. In the previous game, you had to use stamina to climb a mountain, but in this game, if there's a mountain with a cave like this one, you can now get to the top without having to climb all the way up. Here's another example. Imagine you're stuck
great.
in a cage.
Definitely
If it's got a
would
ceiling,
usually wear the
you know what to
climbing
do,
gear
right? Exactly.
to buff all my
Oh,
stamina
there's another
while
construct.
climbing. So the fact
It
that
seems to be holding a
you
strange
can
weapon.
traverse the land much
Some
much
enemies
quicker.
are equipped with fused
Seems like the
weapons,
pace
so
of the-
battles
of the
will
game
play
is
out a
gonna
bit
increase.
differently from the previous game. Ah, it blew me away with wind. Looks like it's got some sort of fan.
It's like a door and a stick together.
Ah! I got pushed off!
Dang, that is
Ah well, let's just return to the surface.
a steep drop.
You can quickly descend from the sky to the surface like this.
This is very
It feels so
Skyward
good.
Sword like.
In the sky, you'll be able to look out across the land. You can also search for destinations that pique your interest.
If they introduce
Once you've
the
chosen your
loft wings, that would be
destination,
pretty crazy. Those are the
you
birds
can
from
speed
Skyward
things up,
Sword.
like this.
That's a crazy dive.
Let's dive into this river. And we're back on the surface. There are
It's very
still so
impressive
many
that you
things I'd
survived
like to
after
show you,
falling
but
that high.
let's leave it at that for now.
If you go diving from that high, you're definitely going to be hitting the the bottom of the water there.
What did you think? Some of Link's new abilities were updated from the previous game. I'm sure some of you watching me play were thinking, wait, if you could do that, then maybe you could do this too. In this game, you can do a lot of things just by thinking about what's even possible. There's still a lot of new gameplay, mysteries, and encounters we couldn't show today, but they're all jam-packed into this unfamiliar Hyrule, and we hope you'll use your imagination to explore it. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.
Very cool. And then there was another announcement that followed this immediately after. I actually saw the trailer, the individual trailer for the hardware after the fact, so that's what they're about to show right now. Gold Joy-Cons, white OLED dock. Let's go. And those gold Joy-Cons are definitely going to be really popular. Even have the graphics printed on both the dock and the back of the Switch itself, which is pretty dope. collector's item in itself, as usual. Anything gold, Nintendo, so iconic towards Zelda. New Switch controller, two-tone, and new carrying case, of course. And that's it. But let's jump into a couple of the segments again that we saw earlier.
If we talk about all of the changes today.
So I mentioned again, like the graphics of the game seem to be pretty much on par with Breath of the Wild. I'm not surprised there. I feel that there's a lot of these elements that were probably, not ready necessarily by the time that they hit the release date or the deadline to get Breath of the Wild out. So I imagine, excuse me, similar to a lot of games, they usually have a ton of ideas and they just don't fit in one version. So they just retain some of these ideas and then move them into the sequel. We've seen that in pretty much the games industry since, the dawn of time or the dawn of the games industry. So all of this stuff that's going on in the air, I imagine again, they just weren't able to develop. If you actually play the master mode, I believe, master version difficulty of Breath of the Wild, there are elements where there are some floating, small like floating platforms and stuff like that with bokoblins and enemies and stuff like that, which not to the extent of these floating islands, but I feel again that's kind of like a tease, which is kind of leading up to what we have over here. But again, graphically, pretty much the same. Even when we look at the HUD, you have your icons on the top left there. You have your map and your thermometer, you have the sound gauge, you have the time of day, and all that type of stuff. I usually turn those off, I think, with the exception of the map, just because I want a cleaner HUD. But those are definitely very useful, for most players.
Today, we'll run out of time.
The other thing is looking at Link's arm there. So you see, he kind of has, almost like a sleeve, but I imagine that the Sheikah slate or something kind of fused with his arm. Interesting look to him as well with the longer hair. Again, in Breath of the Wild, he had his usual cut, kind of like around the ear, like around the neck sort of area. So like he's more of a shaggy, long-haired Link over there, a little bit more savage, and it's interesting. I'm not sure if he's infected or what's going on, but his entire hand and pretty much up to the bicep and tricep seems to be covered in that Sheikah slate type of material, and it's kind of spilling up into the chest there, into the shoulder region.
If we talk about all game launches, Hyrule floating up there.
Now again, Rivali's Gale and a lot of these other things, it seemed, a lot of people would resort to, hacks and tricks and other types of stuff like that to traverse the land. So it's very interesting that they're putting, pretty much quicker travel mechanics into this game. Notably, again, we already have the horse here. You just got to tame the horse.
We're almost at the spot where the object
climbs
fell.
up, and you see this little rock over here. So let's watch when he activates it.
Okay, let's use one of Link's new abilities. If you do this on the rock that just fell...
So see how his hand is glowing there? Before, that would be pretty much the use of a Sheikah slate, where you would pick something like Magnesis or Cryonis, I believe, and like the ice effect and all this other types of stuff. So his hand is activated at this point, where now you're selecting the object without the Sheikah slate, and then you have the ability to rewind. So we see that in action once he selects it. You see the timer there, again, very similar to the Sheikah slate.
It started rising. This power
we saw
is
that
known as
meteor
recall,
kind of
which
falling
rewinds an
before, and
object's
now
movement.
it's moving backwards.
Since I just used recall on the fallen rock, I can now rise into the sky.
As a pseudo
We're a lot
elevator.
closer to the Sky Islands. Let's use the paraglider to reach one of them.
And again, the paraglider, just a quick
There are a few other Sky Islands floating here too.
You see the stamina gauge.
Now there are several for like this. You should pick it up. It might come in handy later. Let's continue. Oh, we'll fight it using the... This is a brand new enemy.
So we know that, of course, the branches are very low attack, very low durability.
Called a construct.
Shatter
we'll
pretty
much
on
the branch
the second combo here. So that's one combo.
Ah, the branch broke.
Oh, no, that's two.
Let's continue.
Let's see. Let's try that again.
Oh, something's there. This is a brand new enemy called a construct. We'll fight it using the branch we just picked up. Ah,
actually,
the
it
branch
breaks
broke.
On a 4-hit combo,
not
so he
good.
picks up the second one.
Quick, get another branch, and we defeated
and
it.
died on the 7th strike and the
More
branch
of
is
this Sky
intact.
Island.
Now later on, you see
Also,
him
this
fuse it
branch is
with
almost
this
broken.
fuse ability
So
with the
here's
rock.
another one of Link's new abilities. If we use this branch and the rock over here, and do this, look, we
And
can
that's why
stick
we
them
made that
together.
hammer. So you see very quickly
And
there.
do this.
First and
If we
foremost, let's
use
see
this
here.
branch and the
So you see him select or hovering over the boulder, and then I think again it gives you the option of what you want to fuse it to, either the wooden shield or the tree branch. And then
rock over
once you
here,
actually initiate
and
the
do
fusion,
this,
you see
look,
that +2 attack.
we can stick them together. We create together to
And then when
fused
he
weapon.
fights these soldiers
We're
again,
dealing with two of them at once.
again it took 7 strikes and it broke on the initial tree branch. So two tree branches to take one of these guys out. And if you watch this again, it should be a 4-hit combo and the hammer stays intact.
Oh, we beat one.
There's one.
The weapon's attack has definitely improved.
1, 2, 3, 4. So again, hammer intact for taking out both of these guys versus the twig breaking on its own before, the tree branch rather.
The other all sorts of things by experiment. If we take
And again, he has a stick and the pitchfork, so really just increasing the range of the poke weapon. One thing to note as well is that this is a two-handed weapon, so you can't actually use your shield while you have this. So, but a really good use of, I guess, being able to space out and poke an enemy from far.
this long, we can create a weapon
Double the
with a
range there,
much
and it's also +4 attack.
longer attack.
Right there.
We can create
Alright.
this we enemies,
Let's see how many
and we can
strikes.
safely attack from
1,
a
2,
distance.
3. 3 strikes. Okay.
You can also fuse arrows with materials in your inventory. For instance,
Now this is cool because again, I'm wondering again if these are all the things that you could attack with. People have been joking around about, can you make a meat arrow? Can you make, I guess, an onion arrow or whatever else that may be? Maybe again to, fire bait out there to get the enemies out. Who knows? But the one we do see for sure are the ice arrows, which
try
is cool.
fusing this least elemental.
So in classic Zelda games, you pretty much need to find an ice arrow. Ice, fire, and light arrows are all individual, as well as the standard arrows themselves. So again, the fact that they're providing you with
If
different
you're out hunting,
options.
my eyes
Let's see
fast
here.
moving objects than arrows like these.
Yes. So the fact that they have all these, selected materials that you can use to customize your arrows definitely opens up a lot of different options. And I'll quickly just jump to the
Fuse it to an arrow
Ultra
and
Hand.
simple. Official for okay.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool too. Kind of like as a trap. Just having the puff mushroom, I think they called it, on there to make sure that when you get when someone strikes you, it actually blows up and creates that smoke
Now,
screen effect.
the
So
enemy's
you get
lost
behind
sight of
them.
Link,
Again, similar to
so
previous games, once you're behind them, you could pretty much one-shot people from behind with the sneak strike. So that's pretty cool.
attack. Using islands,
And then the Ultra Hand. So again,
it's a make.
very interesting to be able to craft and put things together. I think there's going to be some very interesting builds that people come up with in the future.
Shift.
You see, this
We'll keep
makeshift hovercraft that he
here.
makes over here,
Why don't we try there?
right there. Right, so I imagine again, if you put more motors on that, it's going to be faster. Maybe again, you want to carry something over, so we need to increase the surface area to, maybe carry items or other types of stuff, cargo over.
Hey, it's a flying machine.
Which really explains again, like the vehicle here. So there's two of these front, kind of motors in there with two really big back wheels. It looks like they just took some additional planks to kind of make the body of it itself, or the frame.
Trailer we showed actually
This hovercraft as well. One thing that's pretty interesting from this particular shot is the fact that this is pretty high up. The battery stamina gauge that they showed before was only 3 bars, so very interesting to see that it's that high. So I'm wondering again, there may be some type of fuel supply to refill these. And that's about it. But those are my preliminary observations of the game so far, and definitely we'll be picking this up to really, really see, what this game sort of has in stores. It does come out next month, so very excited for that. But in any case, I will hop for now. But again, first impressions on the game, and just drop some questions and comments, and we will get back to you when we can. We'll see you later.